we all get afraid of how dark everything feels. You know, it just feels dark, and it's really felt dark, I think, since COVID, and divided and all the things. I get it. There's a lot to be afraid of, but
Hi, friends. I was so excited to learn that the Candace Cameron Bure podcast has been nominated for a Kayla Fan Award this year, and voting ends Friday night, May 24th at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 p.m. Pacific time. And if you haven't voted yet, would you go vote now at kaylafanawards.com. You can vote for your favorite artists and song of the year, favorite movies and books, and of course, you can vote for the Candace Cameron Bure podcast. Make sure to vote before Friday night, May 24th.
Access more.
Life is like a roller coaster, but it's so much better when we go through it together. Welcome to the Candace Cameron Bure podcast. We're here to share conversations about life's challenges, celebrations, and everything in between. My guest host this season has been Jennie Allen, and we are so glad that you're here. Hi, Jennie.
hey,
So we're getting near the end here.
Yeah.
We're wrapping it up. And
Right.
we're going to talk today about what good emotional health looks like.
yeah, because that's the goal, right? We've been
Yeah.
in this season, and it's been so rich and good to hear your stories and process with you all of this, because I do think all of us are wrestling with this right now. We're all wrestling with what does it look like to untangle our emotions and to be healthy. We want to show up and be healthy, mature people for our kids, for our friends, for our spouses, for our workplace. We want to be that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it feels just nebulous of how to get there. It's
Yeah.
just confusing. And there's a reason for that. You know, the whole image of the book was untangling threads and strings. And in the beginning of the book, there's this little stick figure, and it's got all this little messy string on it. And that was how I felt. I went round and round with the people making the image, because it wasn't messy enough. I'm like, that's not how I feel. I feel crazier than that. And I think that's how we all feel. We feel all like it's all crazy, and how are we going to untangle this? But then you pull on a string and you look at it and you start to notice, like we talked about last week in our bodies, like, I'm a little bit worried about this. And you start to talk about it, and you give it a name, and you begin to understand where it came from. And all of a sudden that string isn't all tangled up anymore. It's straight and clean. And it's meant to, it doesn't go away. It's still there, but it's meant to attach to the Lord, and it's meant to attach to the people you love. And all of a sudden what was all knotted up becomes these threads of connection to each other and to the Lord. And so that really is the goal. And emotional health is untangling those strings and learning how to navigate them, and how to feel them, and how to share them, and how to make a choice about how we're going to live, not compelled and driven by our emotions, but in touch with them as we're going.
Yeah.
And so it's our will making the decision, like we talked about earlier in the season. But one of the things that I thought might be helpful was just to read you a little bit out of the book in what are the gifts of emotional health. Because at this point, hopefully you're with us and you're like, I am all in. I'm practicing this. I'm saying to the people I love more, I feel sad. I feel worried. I feel excited. And you're starting to say those words, and they're hopefully starting to say them to you. In the guide that Candace has shared on her site, Candace.com, it's called the Unwind Guide. There's actually an emotional wheel in there, and it is something great to print off and to just have on your refrigerator, because your kids and you, and maybe sometimes your spouse, may not have words for what they're feeling, but ultimately naming it and beginning to talk about it it begins to heal us, because we're talking about healing. We're not just wanting to sit in our anger forever. That's not the goal.
Right.
We want to feel it, but we also want to move to restoration, and we want to move to forgiveness, and we want to move to all the things that God promises us with the fruits of the Spirit, to peace, to patience, to kindness, to goodness, to gentleness. But we got to go through it. We can't always go over it, and we can't always go around it. We've got to go through it. Yeah, we got to go through it. But on the other side of that, there are many gifts. And one of the gifts that we get is we get to hope again. Like we get to believe that, man, that anger that has bound me for 10 years since my parent wounded me or hurt me begins to heal, because our brains do heal, and our minds and our bodies do heal when we're in community, when we process our emotions the way that God intended it to be. And then the next thing is we grow in grace toward ourselves and others. I don't know about you, but I like people that have suffered. I just do. Like my friends that have been through a lot, they are just such rich, good friends because they have a lot of grace for themselves and they have a lot of grace for me. And they just kind of know like life's kind of hard. And yeah, this is what it looks like. And it's not always easy. And then another thing is we get more of God. In this process, we get more of God. When you feel sad and you go to God, there is more depth in that relationship than there was before. When you take your emotions to God, you get more of him. It is why verses in the Bible exist like, blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Why? Because they get more of God.
Right.
Because they get more of him. Because they need him. Because they're crying out to him. David got more of God because he ran to him with everything he felt. He ran to him with his shame. He ran to him with his sadness. He ran to him with his anger. He ran to him. And so we get more of God, and that helps make it worth it. And then we control what we can, and we stop. And then another gift is we control what we can, and we stop trying to control the things we can. And this comes straight out of AA. A lot of y'all know this, Alcoholics Anonymous. This is the idea that there are certain things that we can fix. We talked about last week, our bodies. We talked about you can choose to exercise, and you cannot believe that it actually helps your serotonin levels. It helps. You can choose to do certain things that help your emotional state. And then there are some things that we cannot control. We cannot fix. We cannot fix the death of a loved one that we did not want to die from cancer. We cannot fix the disappointment of a child that just keeps rebelling and we don't know what to do about it. These are things we cannot fix. And so accepting the things we can't control, but also taking a lot of responsibility for the things we can, leads to a really full, healthy life.
That's very much the serenity prayer too, right?
It is. Yeah. Yes. They start every.
Is that
AA.
the serenity?
It is the
prayer?
Serenity prayer. Yes.
Got it.
I love the Serenity prayer. I think it's very, very telling. And then we start to create again. This is something that was so fascinating in the science and the research I did. So you can't believe how much energy you spend pushing down your emotions, all of us, because we're judging them. So we're telling ourselves all the time, you're fine. You're not sad. I mean, how many times do we use the word fine? We're fine. I'm fine. It's going to be fine. I did this yesterday. Something was kind of hard. And my daughter and I were talking about it at dinner. And I just said, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And she goes, yeah, it's going to be fine. And we were just laughing about it. We do this all the time.
Right.
All of us do it. But when we do that enough and we suppress our emotions and we put them in a little box, that takes a lot of energy to keep it there. You're spending and wasting energy. Dr. Kurt Thompson taught me this. And he talks a lot about this, that he has an entire book called The Soul of Desire that talks about this, that we were built to create. God built us he is a creator and he built us to create. But we stop doing that when we get unhealthy. We stop doing that when we get unhappy, and we push all of our emotions down and all the work. You got your hand on that lid, can't come out. And if it comes out, what's going to happen? And so that is something I never saw coming, that all of the work I'm doing right now, I have energy again for it. And I want to be doing it because I now I don't have my hand on that lid anymore. So those are some of the gifts.
Those are great. I'm going to go back to the very first one, which was hope.
Yeah.
What is giving you hope in the world today?
Yeah, that's such a good question. Oh man. I'll tell you, wow, it's a big one and y'all will all love this. Everyone listening is about to love this. It is Gen Z, because I know not everybody feels that way about them. Man, do I feel that way.
Expand upon that, please.
So the last few years, beginning in 2018, I've always spoken at a lot of colleges and universities, but in 2018, I was speaking at Texas A&M and something shifted in the room and I felt it and they were there. And I didn't know that the generation had shifted, that now Gen Z was in the room instead of millennials. And all I know is I opened it up for a time of confession, and I really didn't give them a lot of instruction, but they started just standing up and yelling out their sin. And I mean, They got real. And this is in a stadium with their friends and their peers. And they stand up and yell things like suicidal ideation, abortion, alcohol abuse, sexual addiction, pornography. Like they're yelling the real stuff. I can't believe it. The leadership can't believe it. I keep trying to, I'm way over time. I keep trying to close the night. Every time I lift the microphone to close the night, 10 more stand up. Like they didn't want to stop. We were there for like an hour. It was wild. And I said, what just happened? That was phenomenal. So then I get asked to speak at Baylor a few months later. And they said, could you do what you did at A&M? It's like, well, I mean,
that was just the Holy Spirit in the room.
I was like, I can get up there and preach Jesus. I don't know. Yeah. And so I get up there and do it that night. It doesn't stop. Same thing, except that night they started taking the microphone and saying things like this. Deceitfulness no longer has power over me. Deceitfulness no longer has power over Baylor's campus. They start saying that in the microphone. They come up to the microphone and they start, and it's lines long. And we were there that night till like 11 midnight.
Wow.
So it keeps going. I'm not kidding. Almost every time I'm with them, I mean, I don't know if you heard about the Auburn baptisms. Mm-hmm. So that was the night I was speaking. We were at Auburn University.
Wow.
I do an altar call. Not many people come forward. I think it's fine. I mean, it's what it is. I thought it was a great night. I felt the Spirit moving. I was like, I feel like this is a really hungry crowd, but okay, not much happened. I go off stage that night and I'm standing next to a pastor and he leans over, he goes, I just want you to know, like, this girl's asking to be baptized tonight. And I was like, oh, that's so great. And he was like, yeah. I said, is there a place you could do that? He said, yeah, my friend has a pool. We'll go, we'll organize it. I said, could you think bigger? Is there anywhere else? And
I love your brain.
And he said,
bigger?
Well, there's a lake down the street. It's like a half a mile to a mile away. I said, do you think someone come if we had baptisms tonight? And he said, I don't know. And so I got up there, I interrupted the worship team and I said, hey, do any of you want to get baptized tonight? And, dozens of hands went up. And I said, well, we're going to go down the street if y'all want to come and we're going to baptize and we'll see you there. So the whole place floods out. This is 6,000 to 8,000 students in their arena.
Wow.
And on a Tuesday night, they just came. We had no idea there were going to be that many. It was an unbelievable night. And so and I show up, I get in the car and I drive down there and I'm like, what have we just done? Like we had no plan. It's dark. We're trying to get cars to turn on their lights in this pond. We were baptizing people for 3 hours. We were there till midnight. We baptized over 200 kids, talked to them all about their faith and had to eventually stop.
Praise the Lord.
It was amazing. So why am I excited about them? We see Asbury. Y'all see,
yep.
I mean, it's happening. Like they want God. They want God. And I think the reason they want God so badly is they've had the world. They've had it. They've just had it in their pockets. They've had it. And they don't want that anymore. And it has not brought them happiness. And so I am seeing something absolutely insane happen with them. And so, yeah, that's given me a lot of hope.
Okay, listeners, final reminder, if you haven't voted for the Impact Podcast Award at Kayla Fan Awards, would you vote now at KaylaFanAwards.com? The Candace Cameron Bure podcast is nominated again this year, and voting ends Friday night, May 24th at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 p.m. Pacific time. If this show has meant something significant to you and has made an impact in your life, we'd sure love for you to vote for the Candace Cameron Bure podcast today. So go vote. Okay, now back to my conversation with Jennie. As a mom,
yep,
and having Gen Zers, it brings me a lot of hope too, because I see within the on a much smaller scale, but the circles of friends that my children have, I was not nearly that confident in my relationship with Christ.
No,
and I see them taking a stand.
Yeah.
Particularly in our culture today, where it really means something.
It does.
Things have gotten divisive and people are taking sides. And while I think we all would love world peace, and unity, I too am so encouraged and hopeful at this younger generation for being as bold as they are and saying, I'm going to stand upon God's word.
They are. That's the thing. Everybody's like, is that real? Are these kids really changing their lives? I'm telling you, they are changing their lives. They are getting free. When I was asking these kids, why are you getting baptized tonight? They were saying things like, because I'm sick of the world and I want to be clean and I want to live for God. They were as zealous as a missionary. Like they were just all in, and they wanted God and they wanted the things of God. And I see that in my kids too. I see a holiness rising up in them. It's not just for fear of salvation. They want God. They want the things of God. They want holiness. They want their lives to be set apart. And they know, we all get afraid of how dark everything feels. It just feels dark. And it's really felt dark, I think, since COVID and divided and all the things. I get it. There's a lot to be afraid of, but the Spirit of God is moving. And he's rescuing and he's saving and he's opening people's eyes, and they're coming to know him as adults, and they're coming to know him as kids, and they're coming to know him. And people that even knew him are coming back to him in revival-esque ways, where, I mean, I was just with a bunch of leaders that were mostly older than me. And it was 100 or so global leaders. And I was sharing with them what I felt like God put on my heart, which was basically, how dare we pray for revival when our hearts aren't clean? That's what God told me to share with all these leaders that I respect so much. That was fun. That was a fun day. So I'm doing that there. They're crying, they're confessing, they're standing up, they're praying, they're worshiping. These are men and women 10 to 20 years my senior. There's something happening. Like God is moving in the midst of the darkness, and we don't fear the darkness, right? We are more than conquerors. We're not afraid of the darkness. We're not afraid of the enemy. We're not afraid of the darkness. We love in the midst of the darkness. Jesus was so clear. They are going to know you by your love. They are going to know you because you love each other. They're going to know you because you love me. And that's what these kids, they're like, listen, these kids, you're right. They have deep convictions. They're standing on the Bible, and they are recklessly loving their worlds. Yeah. Because most of the people they know are not saved. And so when they look at their lives, they're like, I am going to be set apart. I'm going to be holy. I'm going to follow God. I'm going to leave behind the world, and I'm not leaving behind my friends. I'm going to love them like crazy. They're special. I'm telling you.
Give you hope.
Man, you got me on a soapbox there, but I think it matters.
It so matters. It's so encouraging for all of us, no matter what our age, but to see they're the generation. They're coming up.
Yep.
And so
here they are.
Here they are. It's so encouraging.
And let me add this real quick. Disciple people, like those of you that love Jesus, like grab a college student, grab somebody because it's going to take all of us. It isn't just going to be a night, where they get baptized. It needs to be that they're in local churches and people are investing in their lives and helping them know what it looks like to follow God.
Yeah, absolutely. So bringing it back to our emotional health. Yeah. We've talked so much about it in the last 12 weeks. And I want to go back to the steps. People are saying, okay, I want to be emotionally healthy. We talked about, here's the fruit of emotional health. What are the first steps again? Okay. I'm naming.
Notice. You're going to notice first.
Okay.
You're going to notice in your body. You're going to notice in your day. You're going to start to just say, am I okay? Am I not okay? Am I okay? Am I not okay? And then second, you're going to name. You're going to print off this emotional wheel that we're giving you for free. You can go to Candace.com and download it, and it will be just a starting place and you'll be shocked at how many emotional words you never use. It's like a whole vocabulary, right? And we're all kindergartners. We barely can tell if we're sad or if we're mad.
Paste that in your journal too.
Right. It's like under mad, there's like 12 options, and it matters because sometimes you feel rage, like you want to take somebody down, and sometimes you feel bugged and irritated. So you kind of, the definition and the specificity matters, and it actually helps you heal. So the science is, the more specific you can be about what you're feeling, the easier it is to share and the easier it is to heal. So you want to be specific, and then you're going to feel it. And in the book, it was so funny at that chapter. It's like, what am I going to say? Because it's like, okay, go feel, how do you do that? But it really is simple. And one of the things I suggest is just to make a little margin for it, just to spend a little time thinking about why you feel that way, what you're feeling, sit outside for a little while, bring it to God. One of the most important things we can do in this is imagine how God feels about our emotions, because we typically think that he's judging them because we're judging him. But he's not a disappointed father. Like when you go to him, he's just so happy. He's so happy you brought him your day. He's so happy you brought him your stress. And so imagine how God feels, and then share it and find the safe people to share it.
Yeah.
And then decide what to do with it. And that decision matters. We can't just live and swim in all our feelings and never decide what to do with it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And go buy Jennie's book. I mean, really go buy the book, because it's going to go in even more depth than what we've shared here.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. Okay, let's go to a listener question.
Okay.
So I actually want to make a little extra time for listener questions, because we get so many that come in, and some of them are really deep and really heavy, which we've been answering some of those, and some of them are really simple.
Oh, fun.
They're just informational questions. So I have a couple for today. Jessica would like to know, when did you start the podcast? Well, Jessica, I started November 1st, 2022. And my first season was with Tara Lee Cobble, and we talked all about the Trinity. And you can go back and watch that season or any of the other seasons. And they're available on anywhere you listen to your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Access More. And then you can watch all of them. They're all on video on YouTube. Jennie, when did you start your podcast?
I started mine, it was probably 2019. And so I've been doing it for a few years now, and I love it. I feel like it's like having coffee with people. It's so great. And I've loved
And you have a different guest on each week.
We do. I teach on Tuesdays, and I teach through, we usually have a topic that we're working through. Like right now, we're talking about emotions. And then I'll have experts on every Thursday on the topic that I taught on. So that's kind of the schedule we do. But man, I mean, have you liked it? What has it felt like? I know there's parts of it you've loved.
Oh, I love the podcast. I think my favorite part is truly hearing from the people that listen and watch.
You're really out there, all of you. It blows our mind. I mean, it does me all the time.
It really does. And I get these, get these messages. You guys write in through the website, Candace.com, but you also send me DMs. You send me messages on Instagram. You comment.
Love this stuff, y'all.
I love it. But when especially some of you pour your heart out, and you've just told me, like, thank you for your podcast. It's meant so much, and it's changed me. It's changed my relationship with God. And that is that's the ultimate for me. If I'm helping you take one step closer to knowing God, that's my ultimate goal. But it's really my favorite part. And of course, I love all of my co-hosts. We did have fun. We had so much fun. And I'm so grateful for the time that you would take
this was amazing.
To be here and share with us and teach everyone. And that's listening. It means so much to me. So I do enjoy the podcast a whole lot. Yeah. Okay. We have another question from Sarah, and she wrote, I try to live my life showing people the love of Jesus through my words and actions, starting with kindness, humility, and grace. But sometimes it's hard. I know my purpose is to bring people to him. At what point, if ever, is it okay to walk away from a friendship or a relationship?
I'm so sorry. That's so hard. Yeah, I think that decision is such a hard one to make. Mm-hmm. And I really believe fight for it till you can't fight for it anymore. Especially if it's a long-term friend. I mean, I'm thinking of your story with, remind me her name. Dillany.
Yeah.
And you can't replace a friend since 15. You just can't.
Yeah.
So when you've got a friend that you don't walk away from that very easily, because that's just, it matters. And so don't be quick. But there are times, as we've talked about, that it's okay. And I think really even sometimes you just have to set a boundary, because it's just no longer working.
Boundaries are important. And we did talk about it a few episodes ago, and there's some great books on boundaries too. Mm-hmm. And I know it hurts when you have to walk away from a friendship. It really does. Really painful. If the relationship mutually is not serving the two of you anymore, it's time to walk away. Yeah. If it's hurting more than helping, I think it might be time. That's it. That's all for today. But we're going to be back one more week.
Yes.
It may be a bonus episode. I'm not sure.
Let's go crazy. Let's go rogue.
We're going to answer a whole lot of questions.
I love it.
Guys, life can be messy and confusing, but we get to go through this together, our ups and downs. And remember that Jennie and I have a free gift for you this season. It's a simple one-page guide to better emotional health, and we're calling it the Unwind Guide. You can get it at Candace.com or find the link in our show notes. Until next time, be grateful all day, every day. Thanks for watching. Click the like button if you could relate to the stories Jennie and I shared, and comment what question you would ask if you could. Candy Rock Entertainment, all rights reserved.